Hello, everybody. I just wanted to preface this episode with this was recorded on some lavalier mics, so the audio is not as good as it could be. But please bear with me as we are still trying to work things out. Thank you for listening. Okay, it is July 28th, 7:10 p.m. Texas time. I'm here with my son.
Hi.
And we are going to discuss some things on the Deathphones podcast. So, how are you doing?
Doing all right. Just got back from watching Deadpool 3. It was amazing.
Yeah? How'd you like it?
As expected, really. I thought it was one of the best things I've seen in a long time.
What was it that, what stood out to you?
For the movie itself?
For the movie itself, yeah.
They really, Ryan Reynolds really knows how to deliver that Deadpool that everybody wants to see.
Mm-hmm.
And he really embodies it really hard. And I think that's because I know he's gone on record talking about how the Deadpool persona has helped him overcome like his own anxieties and stuff like that. So it's much easier for him to live the role rather than just play the role.
Awesome. Yeah, I enjoyed the movie myself. I saw a lot of cameos in there that I wish that they would expand upon, but I know they're not going to.
Oh yeah, there were cameos left, right, and center. It was fantastic. Yeah, the biggest one for me was seeing Wesley Snipes come in as Blade again for just a hot second, and just rehashing all his old lines, all his poses and his weapons and stuff like that. That was amazing.
I actually liked the Channing Tatum section where he came in as Remy LeBeau.
I don't know, that one was definitely not my favorite. I thought he did okay. He was definitely trying his hardest, but it just felt like he was trying too hard.
Well, the thing is like they were supposed to do a movie.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, and they greenlit it and everything, and then they scrapped it because it was before the MCU. Mm-hmm. And it was part of the X-Men series.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and the X-Men, because it was supposed to be before Dark Phoenix, but I think it was like X-Men Days of Future Past.
Are we talking about X3 or are we talking about First Class Dark Phoenix?
X3, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, it was because it was in that.
Wow, there's supposed to be a Gambit movie.
A Gambit movie, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a Gambit movie because in that one, I believe Rogue was part of the deal. And
yeah, I know they were trying to make her like a huge feature for the original X3 series.
Yeah. And so, unfortunately, it's just one of those things that that ended up happening. Hang on one second. We're back.
No idea where we dropped off.
No, that's fine. I can edit it in post. So, this podcast essentially is supposed to kind of touch on things that we normally don't talk about. Mm-hmm. Because A, we don't think about it, and B, we don't want to. So some of the things that I really want to touch on, number one is number one, your feelings.
Letter one, yeah.
Yeah, your feelings in regards to my decision to not pursue chemo and to kind of live the rest of my life the way I want to live it, and how you feel about that, and whether or not you think that that decision is not necessarily the best decision, or whether or not you think I should do something about it.
Careful, you're missing the foot essentially.
Is that why I'm sitting
I
all
told you, man,
fucking
these chairs
lopsided?
suck.
I can't
Not only that, but you're on uneven ground at that. So it's just a negative on a negative.
Look at that. So what do you think? What are your thoughts?
Well, first, whether or not it's a good decision or not, it's not my decision.
Right.
No matter what, it's your life and it's your choice with what you do with that life. And from there, we can only, try to honor those wishes and try to remain respectful of them.
All right. But what are your feelings about it?
I was hopeful that at some point you would come around and say, you know what, I can do a round two. But I mean, I've been there with other things before, and I know how bad those round ones are. Not necessarily for chemo, but when it comes to I don't want to do something again. Because I know it was like that for me when I was doing, when I was giving, was it platelets? Essentially, when I was donating blood for money.
Okay.
They messed me up pretty bad at one point, and I said I'm never going back again. Again, it's not the same thing comparably, but I understand. What I'm trying to say is I understand the feeling of saying I don't want to do this again.
Well, I mean, my rationale is that there's essentially no guarantee that the chemo is going to help me. There is no way that chemo is going to guarantee that it's going to extend my life. The only thing that it's going to do is potentially keep me alive for about a year, potentially. Now, you got to understand that it's poison that I'm putting into my body to kill some cells that are already in my body.
Right.
And the thing is there's no chance of remission. This is a done deal. That's one of the reasons why I started my podcast with Dead Men Walking, because essentially that's what I am. There is no recourse to that at all. And the whole situation is that when I went through chemo the first time, I got so sick that I had to go to the hospital. You were there, and I was there for a couple of days. During all of this, I ended up getting sick on my second round of chemo because my immune system was so low that I ended up getting septic from a bacterial infection. So, being that, and I was here during that time, had I known that it was that severe, I probably would have stayed in Fresno.
Yeah.
But I was only going for the weekend.
It still wasn't the best trip.
Yeah, no.
And I still feel bad dragging you through
it was
that
fine.
aquarium like that. It was very packed.
Right, but it was fine.
Stupidly packed.
It wasn't like something that I regret doing. I wanted to come out here. I wanted to see you guys, and yeah, I ended up going into the hospital again when I went back, and
like immediately after you landed.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I was close on that one there. That was a close to death kind of situation. The thing is that the only thing that that caused that was the fact that I was on chemo and my immune system was so compromised that a normal bacteria in my blood that everybody that grew up in the valley has colonized. And so then after I did the I stopped the chemo and then I started antibiotics, some heavy duty antibiotics that caused the heart attack,
caused the pleural effusion and the pericardial effusion. So that medication literally caused a heart attack.
Right.
And then, of course, after that, they were looking at my heart and they were seeing what was going on and so on and so forth. But that sensation, that feeling, initially when I first went to the hospital on Christmas Eve, of all things, and then a few months later when I went to the hospital again for the bacterial infection and all of that, because this was all the result of the chemotherapy that I was doing. And one of the big issues for me was that I lost a lot of not only mobility but strength, and I also lost a lot of will during that time. Mm-hmm. And I needed a lot of help with my mental faculties. I needed a ton of help physically, and I needed a ton of help, when it came to just wanting to get up in the morning. And unfortunately, it was one of those situations that it was one of those situations that caused a lot of issues, and I didn't necessarily appreciate that. And that's kind of what gave me that's that fucker. That's kind of what gave me the idea that, I'm not going to go through it again because it's not worth it for me to do that. I don't want to be weak. I don't want to not be able to function. I don't want to not be able to work, because that was the other thing, is that I was not able to do any work. So if I ended up starting the chemo, excuse me, I would have to quit working, essentially, and then eventually go on disability, and then from there eventually go on hospice. And granted, I would have a little bit more time, but me working actually gives me purpose.
Is there a way for you to pause real quick?
Yeah. Okay. So,
I had to pause to get a thing away from my dog real quick.
Yeah. So, essentially, just with all that being said, it just became evident to me that if I want to feel like I still have a purpose, and I want to be able to, kind of go out the way I want to go out, then, this is the route that I would have to take. Mm-hmm. And, I know, like, I don't know if you remember my Aunt Esther.
I don't.
Yeah. You've met her a couple of times. She is really religious, and, is like all about, figuring out what the situation is, and trying to get me to try everything under the sun. The problem is that, we live in the age of the internet,
right?
And whatever UC San Francisco knows, my doctor knows, because why would they hide treatments? You know what I mean? And, if there is a cure, they're not going to sell that shit.
I was about to say, I know they've been talking recently in the news or something like that about how they're like a year out from a cure-all, which I think is bogus in the first place.
Yeah,
it's whatever.
Yeah, they're not gonna have a cure for it. There's more money
to be made in not selling a cure,
yeah,
and to not having one.
Exactly, because if you found a cure for cancer, and then you started curing cancer, and then people got cancer, there's more money in the treatment than there is in the cure.
Mm-hmm.
So,
there's more money in maintenance than there is in a permanent fix.
For sure, and that's a big issue. you know, so yeah, I am, I'm happy being able to come out and visit you guys. I'm happy that I can do this right now, and I'm happy that like I can, work with my union, because that's the other thing that I've started doing.
Yeah.
Is I've been getting heavily involved in the union, and in August I'm going to try to.
Yeah, Mom's been bragging all to hell about you about that.
Yeah. I'm going to try to get back on the union, the campaign for Fresno, because I'd like to see that happen.
Mhm.
I'd like to see it come to fruition. Now, I just got invited to San Diego to it's like not an award dinner, but it's like a leadership something or another.
Right.
And it's because I went to that training in Sacramento, and from that training in Sacramento, I got invited to this thing, and so I'll be going early August to that thing.
Oh,
But,
okay, so like really, really soon.
Oh yeah, like within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Because it's like August 8th, and
Yeah, like a week and a half.
yeah. So I'm gonna be able to go. Like when I get back, I took 2 days off from work.
Mhm.
So when I get back, I only work 2 days. so I took the 2 days that I work off, and then I'm gonna go back Saturday. I'm gonna work Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then I'm taking Wednesday off, because Wednesday I'm gonna do my dialysis, and then I have to catch a flight on Thursday to San Diego, and it's like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hour flight, something like that.
Okay.
But I think it's early in the morning, and then we're gonna get there, and I'm only gonna spend like 2 days there. Try to do my dialysis on Saturday when I come back.
Mhm.
If I don't catch it Saturday, I'll catch it Monday. But it's not that big of a deal right now. It's just one of those things that it like that gives me purpose. It allows me to do something that I want to do.
Right. It's something new for you to strive to.
Yeah, and so I mean, I understand that I do have a limited amount of time, but I'm not worried about that. That's not even in
You're trying to choose how you spend it.
Right, and I'm trying to spend it as best I can. I've already visited family up north, and my brother, the idiot and asshole that he is, turned around and got mad at my sister, who just lost her son, and
You got mad at her?
Got mad at her, because he was showing his ass the night before, trying to steal someone's phone and drinking up all the beer, didn't even contribute to any of the shit.
What the hell?
And then he was like dangling the carrot, right? Because his daughter is in jail right now. She just graduated, and we were going to do a video chat with them.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets pissed off at her, and then sends me a message telling me, oh, I see the side that you chose, and this, that, and the other. I'm sitting there going, what the fuck? What side? What the fuck side are we talking about?
Sides.
Yeah.
We're literally at a wake.
Right, exactly.
What the hell?
And then he turns around and tells me
the side is supposed to be the family. That's
right,
the side.
Right. And then he turns around and tells me some shit about my sister, and then says to me, I don't even want to know what does he say? He said some shit about I don't even care about whether you live or die, this, that, and the other.
Thanks. Click.
Yeah. Well, no. He sent this in a text on Messenger.
Wonderful.
And then he fucking blocked me.
And then he blocks.
Yeah. And so I'm like, all right, fuck it. I'll just go on Messenger and block him from everything else that I have
and
on
that,
him. Yeah. And it's a small price to pay.
Clearly chose a side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was there to support my sister, because she just
that was the point. Yeah.
Yeah, because my nephew died. And what the fuck, man? That's not cool.
Right.
You know what I mean? But because it wasn't about me.
Like I said, you're literally out of week.
Right. Yeah. And again, it wasn't about me, but he, made it about him and, all this other shit. And I'm just like, all right, it's one of the reasons why we didn't want to tell you in the fucking first place, because you make it about you.
Yeah.
And, that's not what we're trying to do here, And so, yeah, there's a bunch of shit, that was going on and a bunch of bullshit. And it was just not copacetic. But again, if that was a small price to pay to have him out of my life, and
it still sucks.
It does, but if this is how he wants to live the rest of his days, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Remember him for the good times.
Yeah,
rather than the final.
Yeah, I still love him. But what else am I gonna do? You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah, you can't help somebody that doesn't want help.
Yeah, I'm not alienating him because I'm mad at him, because I'm not. Never been mad at him, but he has to do better for himself. And unfortunately, he's not going to be able to do better for himself until he realizes that he needs to be better for himself.
Right.
And it is what it is. And so it's a shame. But I mean, that's how things roll, and so going up there and visiting everybody that I saw up there, talked to my brother, talked to my sister. Barbara wasn't able to go up there, but I had seen her before.
Is she still in Fresno?
She's still in Fresno. She's actually up in Oregon right now. She's helping out Ashley, and so she was able to go to the celebration of life that they had for Isaac. And just the little things that were there.
Yeah.
She's there to kind of support my sister. Star is kind of a loner, and rightly so, because she doesn't really trust anybody else.
I mean, when people are trying to steal other people's phones at your son's
right,
week, yeah,
right,
not a whole lot to trust there.
Right. I mean, she's got a good support system up there, which I was pretty happy about. Really close friends that she's known for years and stuff like that. And I was just glad I was able to go up there and to be with her, at least for a week, and figure out, how she was doing and stuff like that. She still calls and we still talk to each other, a lot, and that's always a good thing. I'm glad that she trusts me and keeps in contact with me, and I think she talks to Roger too, but yeah, we had a really nice conversation. Unfortunately, the recording that I had for that one, I actually hit pause once because I had to go to the bathroom. And
you forgot to start it?
No, I thought I did, and it apparently didn't. So I only got 15 minutes of that conversation. And we spoke for like 2 hours. It was a long time, yeah. But, I mean, it is what it is. It's, eventually I'll get them both on the phone. And I have a way to record through the phone.
Okay.
So I'm going to do that eventually and get that going. I spoke to Malachi. We did a podcast also, and I'm working on editing that one, and I'm going to put that out probably in about a week.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm going to work on it when I get back home. There's a lot of I had some audio issues during that one, and so I'm hoping this one plays out a little bit better. But the audio issues, like my microphone was super low and his was a lot louder, and I was just like trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And so I'm just going in and I'm capturing all my speech and I'm amplifying it, and then hopefully killing some of the background noise, because there's some background noise, like a hiss and things like that. But worst case scenario, I'll have that hiss in certain parts.
I was about to say, you might get that here just because I've got the pool right here. And
oh
got the
yeah,
in the background. Dog chewing
no,
on
I'm actually not worried about this. I can
crap.
actually, as long as the vocal recordings are louder than the background shit,
Mhm.
I can clear the background shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I use a program that allows me to clear all the background noise, so it could sound pretty well as long as these microphones pick up pretty well. I'm not sure how they work in like when the wind's blowing,
Mhm.
but hopefully it's not going to be that big of a deal because I'm not getting a lot of feedback on these.
That's good.
Yeah, so it seems like it's going pretty well because if there's wind blowing, that's like a negative.
I mean, we're outside. There's a fair bit of wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, like all the rest of the noise, I'm not real worried about. Not everything can be a golden studio recording. So essentially, that's how things are going right now. But how's your work and things that you're planning on doing?
Currently work sucks.
Okay.
It really sucks.
All right.
I've been there, going on 4 months now?
Okay.
And since I started, it's just been one headache after another. And every now and again, it feels like it's getting a little bit better, and then it just gets worse.
Like in what sense?
So supposedly the entire issue with it started before I ever got there. There was just issues of people being dirty and stuff like that. For context, I am a shift lead of a halfway house. So I'm one of the residential monitors, and I'm the lead for a bunch of other monitors that are supposed to be there during a certain time.
Okay.
But yeah, the problem started long before I got there, where like a good amount of people were dirty, taking bribes and stuff like that. And
you mean like the RAs and shit, or
yeah,
okay,
that's what I mean. When I got there for my interview, he gave me a whole rundown about how he's gotten rid of like over half the people already.
Really?
Most of the main crew, yeah. And he's trying to hire on an entire new team.
Damn.
He hired me on as a lead.
Okay.
And I've been the only lead there for the last 4 months. I had a supervisor for a little bit, and he left at the beginning of June.
Like for good, or?
Yeah. Second time he'd done that too, because he had gotten more flack than I've been. Since he left, though, literally my next direct supervisor is the director of the whole place.
Okay.
And he and I have been working really close together, and I thought he was a good guy for a minute now.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been starting to show. I don't know if there's true colors or not. I don't know the guy too well. I only know him from work.
Yeah.
But he's been steadily getting on my bad side, and he's definitely been getting on everybody else's bad side too. I can take a lot of crap and punishment.
Yeah.
So I know when he starts pissing everybody else off, that's a sign.
I see.
But I do know that the reason why he's pissing everybody else off is because, like I said, the problems arose and came to a head long before I got there, and especially with all the new hires and stuff like that, everything's gone really slack in terms of how they're supposed to operate.
Okay.
And so with the monitors going slack and with the residents running amok, essentially practically getting away with murder.
Yeah.
He's just trying to bring us back to that standard of how the business is supposed to be run and how we're supposed to be operating and stuff like that. And of course, that's going to ruffle feathers and piss people off because they're being told that they can't be doing a lot of the things that they've been doing for a long time now, and that they should be doing a lot of things that are just more of a hassle for them to do. And again, I understand he's trying just to get us back to a standard. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
So, are you planning on staying there? Or are you planning on finding some other work, or?
I don't know. I really don't. I keep having moments where I want to stay because I have a spark in my head or an idea about how it's going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
But then I have the realization again that I'm basically just in a abusive relationship where I keep thinking, oh, I can fix him. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And where I figure that out and I go, oh, I got to get something else. I got to start looking, and I don't look. I haven't looked for anything yet. My therapist keeps telling me the same thing about how he wonders why I'm not more pissed off and why I'm not fighting for myself and defending myself more.
Yeah.
And he's right. I know he's right, at least to a certain extent. That he's not, on the ground, so he doesn't actually see what I'm seeing or hear what I'm hearing.
I gotcha.
And I do agree. I should be wanting more for myself. It's just tough coming out of the Army, not having any sort of management or better. I don't know how to say it. Just not an entry position. And then I finally get one, and once again, not treated the way I want to be treated. Not getting the things that I should be getting. And
well,
I wanted to hold on to this because I wanted this one to be good. I'm tired of job hopping.
No, I get that, but like, how do you think you should be treated? I think that's where the standard should come about initially, like how you feel you want to be treated. Now, being from my position, my job, when I first started, I had to work all the shit hours.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. You got to start off in the shit hours, and if you're lucky, you'll get a decent position. But every single job that I've worked at, it's always been shit hours. It's always been evening shift. It's always been graveyard shift. It's always been something until I've been there for a year, and then once that year came around, then
until you've earned time,
yeah, and it's always it's always shitty in the beginning. It's always going to be shitty in the beginning,
right?
And there's no
the difference I think there is he's also new.
Okay.
He's been my third director since I've been there.
Right.
First guy was the guy who hired me on in the first place. He was only there for a couple weeks while he found an interim.
Okay.
Then the interim director was there for about 2.5, 3 months ish.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't make any decisions. Didn't want to get his hands dirty. Didn't want to actually do anything as far as I knew.
Okay.
He was literally just keeping the doors open, I guess. And then this new guy comes in, and he comes in talking about how, we're going to get back up to standard. We're going to do this, that, and the other. And he's been there about a month now, I want to say.
Okay.
And that's great. He seemed to come in with a fire in his belly, and I'm glad about that. I genuinely am.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, like I said, this is the third guy, and I'm still having to say, well, we'll see how it goes. Not because I don't have faith in him, but just I don't know him. I didn't know any of the other guys either, and I thought they were going to pan out, and they didn't.
So, but I think my question is, what do you know about this job that you can make work to your benefit? I think that's the thing. Like I know what you do. Mm-hmm. You simplify it by saying you're a glorified babysitter. Okay, I get that. I used to live in a dorm, and we used to have RAs, and we had rules and shit like that. And 90% of the time we tried to break those rules also. And the thing is like, the little shit, like having extra food or having food in your room or what little things like that, we're against the rules, but most of the RAs turn a blind eye to that because that's like a petty rule. You know what I mean? Unless you were like hoarding food and then selling it on the side, which was, which there were some people that were like, going to Costco and buying the big ass fucking bag of chips and the Gatorade bottles and shit like that, and trying to sell them on the side, 50 cents for the chips and $1 for a Gatorade bottle. Mm-hmm. When you're spending 50 cents on the dollar, for that shit, or exactly. And the chips are, you're just making a killing, and I get that. I understand that there's going to be those people that are like that, and but like being the lead, what are you responsible for? What is within your power, essentially? Like, are you working on schedules? Are you doing, are you in charge of anybody? Because technically, a lead is not necessarily a supervisor. A lead is just somebody that kind of takes on the extra responsibility.
Yeah, and that's essentially me. Whenever something happens, whenever a decision needs to be made, and nobody from first shift is there,
Yeah.
because first shift has the case managers, they have the people in charge of certain areas and stuff like that, and then there's the director and things like that. So after I get in there for second shift and everybody else leaves and goes home, whenever a decision needs to be made, oh, well, go ask Anderson. I don't have any actual power.
Right.
I guess that's the power I have.
Well, I mean, if there's
just when nobody else is there, then
right. So you have the power to make decisions at that point.
Right.
Yeah, and yeah, that's
nothing actual game changing.
Right. But like if something needs to be dealt with right there and then,
right,
you're able to deal with it. You don't have to call your supervisor at 10 o'clock at night
unless it's an actual emergency that needs to be handled by somebody with a higher status.
Right. And that's understandable.
Which not very rare, I'm gonna say.
Oh, okay.
I have to call him quite often because some crap always happens.
But again, I mean, it's like, what are you looking to gain out of this position?
I was hoping I could move up and figure out where I could be and where I wanted to go.
Okay.
But that's just not what this is, and I know I need to start looking elsewhere.
So, do you need to have like a social worker degree or some shit like that in order to take the director spot? Or a supervisor spot?
Not the supervisor spot. They weren't saying I needed anything because for a minute they were looking at me for the supervisor spot since the previous one left out.
Yeah.
And they weren't saying that I needed any of that.
Okay.
For the supervisor spot, but for like a case manager spot, yeah, I definitely need
you probably
a social worker degree.
Yeah, you need a degree for that.
I know Leslie's trying to push me to go into cybersecurity.
Okay.
And I don't think it's a bad idea. I just don't see myself having any free time, and I'm finding it difficult to find the motivation.
Well, you're never going to have free time.
Yeah.
Ever. You got a kid.
I got
you got kids, man. And you got a household.
Yeah.
That you have to contend with. So free time is not allowed. Okay. Free time is something that you have to carve out. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you got to give up certain things in order to do what that free time is necessary. That was my whole deal when I went back to school. Because I had an X-ray license, but I was a limited license tech, and I wasn't going to be able to work in a hospital ever. Mm-hmm. And I needed to figure out a way that I could get my full license so that I could do that. And the only way was to go back to school. And making that decision is a difficult decision because you are going to be tired all the time. You're going to be fucking miserable all the time. You're never going to talk to your wife because you're going to be busy doing whatever you need to do. And a lot of times your relationship with your family suffers a little bit. But that's the sacrifice.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And I think that my sacrifice was warranted because, even though I was making enough money at the time, it wasn't where I wanted to be in life. And I tried to get your mom to go back to school also, because I know she wanted to do library sciences, which technically there's no money in library sciences, but she wanted to do it. And so I was like, well, go and get it, get some work. I'll pay for the school, and You know, you were able to, to work while I was going to school, and you know, we survived. So go back to school. We'll still survive. You know, and granted, it's one of those situations where it is a very difficult decision to make. But once you make that decision, you can't sit there and say, okay, I can cheat a little bit here, cheat a little bit there, and make sure that like let's say you dedicate a few hours to video games per day, right? You might have to cut that down. You might have to cut it down to a half hour or an hour, whatever you're comfortable with, so that you can turn around and do the other thing that you need to do, which is study, or learn a trade, or whatever. I mean, you've got a plumber living in your house. You know what I mean? I'm sure you can become an apprentice somehow. You know, and that may not pay exorbitantly well, especially here in the state of Texas, but it's at least something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Her dad, right? Your roommate's dad is an electrician. There's also an apprenticeship there. That's a really good trade to get into.
I actually have an electrician's apprenticeship already.
Yeah.
I did for a minute at least.
You should consider going back into it, because that's a good trade to get into. Plumbing and electrical, those are both good trades to get into.
Yeah.
Automotive is another one. Especially nowadays with all the shit that you have to do. I mean, you have to know all the shit with computers, in order to work on cars. Matter of fact, I took the truck in just recently. We just spent what was it, $13.50 on a new transmission, right? Oh, and shout out to our transmission guy, Payless. It's a Payless transmission, clutch. I'm sorry, Payless clutch and transmission. Shout out to him, because when we had to take it back, he knew it was under warranty, and they did the work, quoted us a price, and then turned around and it was zero when we walked out. So Paul Rodriguez, I'm sorry, not Paul Rodriguez. I'll edit that out. But no, it was a really good. It was a really good thing, and we were sweating it too, because I was like, man, I don't get paid till Friday. I don't have that money, and so let's hope that these things are under warranty and stuff like that. And so yeah, we ended up getting that done, and then the next thing I know, some shit. Oh, my battery went out, and so I had to I had to spend $150 on a battery to get that dealt with. And I finally got that dealt with, because I was jumping my vehicle like every couple of hours. I had to, I would drive somewhere. If the car sat for more than 2 hours, I'd have to jump it. Yeah. So the battery was completely dead.
It was screwed.
Yeah. And so it wasn't charging fully, and if I went somewhere, stopped for a few minutes, and then went back in and to start it, it would start right up. But if I sat there, like when I went to dialysis, I ended up going to dialysis, and it got me to dialysis, and then when I got out of dialysis, which was 3.5, 4 hours later, it wouldn't start. And so I'm like, damn it. And luckily I have I have that MagFast brick, right? So I have the cables. You saw the cable in the car.
Yeah.
I have a brick that can charge up to 3 things wirelessly, and then I have there's a bunch of inputs and outputs for it, and that thing is also a jump starter.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so I have that in the car right now, and that jump starter saved my ass a couple of times. It's called MagFast Extreme.
Okay.
And this podcast does not have any affiliation with that.
Brought to you by.
No, not at all. No, they ain't paying me shit. But it's a product that I believe in, so I'm pretty happy about it. And so yeah, just those little things, and sometimes you got to get out of your own way in order to do something that you want to do or need to do in order to get to where you want to be. Because I mean that's the biggest deal. I didn't want to struggle anymore, and we were struggling. Like when you always had food, you always had clothes, but we didn't have a lot. And our priorities were completely fucked up too.
Still wondering where it's coming from next month. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
and so it was just one of those situations where, like, I got tired of that. I got tired of doing all that, and then on top of that, even when you guys were groaning out of the house, I was still working fucking 3 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And until I got with the company I'm with now, where I actually get paid what I feel I deserve, you know, and I'm only working a part-time shift, which in my opinion is just fine because it pays my bills. You know, there's maybe, and this is maybe, it's a big maybe. If we don't have any unexpected expenses, we have at least $400 every month, or $400 every pay period that is available to us.
Okay.
And if we were smarter with it, we would probably put half of it away, and then the other half would just kind of sit there, and if we needed to use it, you know what I mean? And there, your mom goes on spending sprees. She likes to go and do, not yard selling, but she likes to do estate selling, which can be pretty fucking expensive.
Yeah.
But then there's stuff that we need and things like that, and that's sometimes that's not in the budget, and we either have to monitor for it or save up for it or figure out other shit,
Yeah.
stuff like that, and it's difficult at times. But if I decide to borrow money from somebody, I always make sure I pay them back, because that's always a big issue for me. And one of the things that helps is that if I do borrow from somebody, I make it a point to pay them back first and foremost, so that if I need to hit them up again in the next month or something, then I'm able to.
Yeah.
Because they know that I'm good for it, type of thing. But I'm trying to get away from all of that altogether. One of the reasons why I want to do the union work is I still get my same wage plus whatever differential I get, because it's considered lost time.
Mm-hmm.
So I get my wage, my differential. I also get mileage that I need to and from where we're at and where we're supposed to be, and then that gets paid weekly. So if I work for them for a month, I make my biweekly paycheck every week, and then because I work 20 hours,
Mm-hmm.
so for every biweekly pay period, I get 40 hours. So that's a 40-hour pay period.
Yeah.
Well, they want me to work 40 hours a week, and so if I get paid every week, I make my biweekly paycheck every week, which is pretty helpful, to be honest with you. That's one of the better deals. When I did that for 2 weeks, like, that money helped quite a bit, and that was we were able to cover a bunch of bills and do all kinds of shit that we needed to do. One was like with the vehicle. We had some shit we had to do with the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got that done. And so hopefully, that'll, hopefully I'll be able to work in August with them, and then that'll be nice. I would appreciate doing that. But aside from that, I mean, are you looking at Are you looking at anything other than that? Because I know, like, when I was talking to Leslie, there were, like, a lot of plans.
There's always plans.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be plans that fall through constantly and consistently.
Yeah. Well, she was saying that there's a new place that you guys were looking at, and if the four of you are all working, then you guys should be able to afford the new place, which is a bigger place.
We were looking at 2 or 3 different places, and they, spent a good night together doing the math on how much we would need versus how many people can be on the title and stuff like that, and then what kind of percentages and costs and stuff everything would need, and they were saying that we could buy a house right now, one of the a fairly older house for $300,000, which automatically is just not appealing to me.
Right, it is expensive, but
it's expensive as all hell, and it's for a house that's 40, 50, 60 years old.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, that's the market right now.
Yeah.
And
yeah, the market is ass, and it has been for a long time.
Yeah. And it's not going to change, at least not anytime soon. One of the things that I was talking to your mom about was putting the house in the trust. So when I do go, she'll be the sole owner of it, and there won't be any penalties or taxes that are passed down to her, and nothing will be pulled out from it. And so when that happens, she'll be able to make that decision as to whether she wants to keep it or sell it. And one of the things that I wanted her to do is, if she does decide to sell it, that she take it and split it 3 ways, between you and Malachi and herself, because she's also going to need.
What happened to wait? What happened to me getting that house? What happened to that?
Well, you guys are talking about not coming back to California,
and you made it a whole rule.
Yeah,
hold on. You made a whole ruling,
right.
A whole race between Malachi and myself.
But you still got to live in that house.
About who gets the house because of who had a child first.
That was the rule. You got to live in that house. Yeah, but you got to live in that house. So
there's people living in it currently still.
No. You aren't living in that house. You have to live in that house. You got to live in it for at least a year, and then it'll all go to you 100%. And then you can do with it what you fucking please.
I ain't fucking living in that house.
See? Look at that.
Fresno is a black hole I've been trying to escape for a long time.
It's not a black hole.
It's always felt like that to me.
No, it's not. Don't
get me wrong. I love you. I love Mom, and I love.
It's just your perception.
It is.
It's just your perception, because you went to
a decade. Every time I tried to leave, I ended up getting sucked back in.
Right,
because I had nowhere else to go.
Well, I mean, you went to where was it? The Oakland area, right? What was it called?
Oh, San Jose?
No,
yeah.
you didn't go to San Jose. No,
yeah,
you went to the other place, Dublin. There you go. Yeah, you don't remember Dublin, where you shared a house, or an apartment with like 20 people?
What are you're talking about, Malachi?
No, you were there too.
No,
I thought you were there.
I would visit him sometimes when I went to drill.
Okay.
I never lived there with him.
Oh, okay.
No, dude, my unit was in San Jose.
So, you were in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you consider staying in Georgia?
I did, but if I had stayed in Georgia, if I had stayed active, I would have continued to be at Fort Benning, which I was already miserable, and I didn't want to continue that experience.
Okay.
Staying in Georgia just as I was, there were other complications that I couldn't.
All right. Then what about you going to San Francisco and starting a ramen shop? What was that all about?
That was a half-baked idea from when I was trying to. I was playing with the idea of committing to the culinary lifestyle that you had started for me.
Okay.
because you put me in culinary school when I was young, and I tried that for a couple years, and then I wasn't making any money, and then the issues with Leslie where she had to go back to El Salvador.
Yeah.
I wasn't making any money for myself, let alone able to send to her and support her and help her. And so I, went to Hail Mary route, and I looked for stability because that's what I really needed. And I joined the Army.
Okay.
I know you and Mom were against it, and everybody else was against it, but you still supported me, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't agree with it. You're right, but it is one of those things that it was your decision, and I'm gonna support whatever decision you make. The one thing I don't support is you not taking advantage of all the veteran things that you are eligible for.
You and my therapist say the same thing.
I don't support that shit at all. Let it be known on record.
Yeah, on record, you and my therapist are of the same idea.
I send you shit all the time in your email.
Do you?
Yes.
You
and Leslie.
I don't see anything.
Yeah, I send you both stuff from the VA.
I don't see anything.
I send you stuff all the time, and there is a job fair, national job fair for the VA that I sent you the other day. Hey, get out! Stop!
You're playing with him, man. I gotta tell him to stop when you're the one playing with him. Tighten. Knock it off.
No, he's fine.
See?
He's fine. No, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him right now. But yeah, I sent you that shit. I sent you a couple of things. To get you to kind of look at it and see what was going on.
Last thing I have from the VA is this year, July 3rd, 2024 VA credit loan requirements. That's all I got.
Yeah, no, I sent you a couple of things here. Let me see, because I think I might still have that. But yeah, I sent you quite a few things in regards to.
Oh yeah, no, I see it now.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Yeah, because it was from me. It wasn't from. I just forwarded the email.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's a couple of things there. I think one was a job fair, another one was like a gaming giveaway. They were giving away a rig for a VA vet, stuff like that. But there's like a bunch of things, a bunch of programs that you could take advantage of, and I think you should, because it's there for you. You did your time. It's one of those situations that it's like a thank you rather than a fuck you.
It's one of those things that I'm not proud of the time I did.
Right, I understand.
It feels wrong to use that stuff.
Okay,
it feels weird for me to even ask about it.
Take me for example. Okay, I'm 100% disabled. Do I look 100% disabled? No. I don't feel 100% disabled. Not only do I not feel 100% disabled, or I don't think I look 100% disabled, but I'm considered 100% disabled. If I wanted to right now, I could turn around and apply for Social Security, right? And they would give it to me, like completely. They would be like, "Oh, you're that guy. Okay, here you go," and then I get a check for $2,300 a month. Well, I make fucking 22 every 2 weeks. How am I going to live on $2,300 a month?
Right.
You see what I mean? So I got to work. But one of the advantages is that I have a disabled plate on my car, so I can park in any handicap stall that I want to. Now, if I'm parking in a handicap stall, then I'm going to park in a handicap stall because I'm allowed to. Mm-hmm. That's one of the benefits that I have earned. And honestly, it's not a good earning because I'd much rather not earn that fucking benefit. But I'm going to take advantage of it. You see what I mean? And if there's anything that I can take advantage of at this particular juncture in my life, that I'm going to. And it doesn't hurt to take advantage of the help that's out there. It doesn't hurt at all. And no one's going to think less of you for doing that at all. Like, quite literally, no one is going to do that. And you may benefit from it. And you know, you have to look at not only yourself, okay, because you might have some hang up about it, right? But you also got to understand you're married and you have a child, okay? And if it's going to benefit them, you should totally take advantage of it, because those are the people that you support, and that support should be given to them also. You see what I mean?
I do.
So, you know, I'm not talking about, you know, Veterans Day and you go and get a fucking free IHOP fucking pancakes or anything bullshit like that, or you go to Denny's and they give you, you know, whatever. But, you know, if you got to fix your car and you're able to do it yourself, you know, and they offer you a 10% discount, or you go to Lowe's and you can use the 10% discount that Lowe's offers, then, I mean, you know, that's saving you money, right?
Yeah.
And that money, you know, could be used for other things.
Oh, hell.
What is that?
That's something he shouldn't be chewing on.
Oh, okay. It's a ball. That's for sure. It's a ball.
Yeah. I gotta go grab that.
Okay. So yeah, that's, you know, little things like that I think are important to engage in, you know? Like I get benefits through the union for travel and things like that, and you know, sometimes they're good and sometimes they suck. But I mean, you know, if I can take advantage of something, then I would, you know, and I just think it's necessary. So what is your therapist like pushing you to do?
He really wants me to go on usajobs.gov to look for something and use my veterans preference points to snag a job that I would actually thrive in, and not only that, but that I could actually move up in.
So why won't you?
It's not that I won't. That's probably going to be my next step.
Okay.
I just haven't. Like I said, I've had hang-ups about how I wanted to make this one work. I wanted this one to be good because I found this and I, you know, got my foot in the door here.
Right. But
And I know I have to take the next step.
Well,
this isn't the be-all, end-all, and I'm not trying to treat it as such.
Right. One of the things that I've always, one of the virtues that I've always tried to instill in you guys is that, you know,
Work smarter, not harder.
yeah, work smarter, not harder. But in whatever job you do the best that you can. Whether that's picking up trash, mopping the floor, you know, banging on a pipe, you know, wrenching a wrench, you know, working a skillet, whatever you do, make sure you're the best at it, because that's one of the things that needs to happen. Because if you feel good about what you're doing and you feel good about the job that you're doing, then you can move forward with that job or outside of that job in being and knowing that whatever you do, you're going to be the best at it that you can. And we don't always find our careers right off the bat. Like, I knew I wanted to do something in the medical field when I was young, when I was a small child.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into high school and I thought I was going to be a rap superstar. And I fucking tried my ass off. I recorded a couple of things and, you know, it was
Wait,
out.
you're not?
No, I am not a rap superstar. I wish I was.
I grew up thinking you were.
No, not me. But, you know, I still tried. That was the thing. I still tried. I knew that it wasn't feeding me at the time, and what was going to feed me was a solid job. And so I went towards the medical field. When I had an opportunity to get into the medical field, I took it. I went to Job Corps and I did my CNA course, and I was going to go into nursing. And then I found out that they had X-ray, and I'm thinking all X-ray techs are the same, right? Because I didn't know any better. And what I got was a limited license in X-ray because I went to a vocational school, right? And that got me a couple of jobs, but I was getting paid minimum wage essentially,
Right.
maybe $1 more,
Right,
some
because
shit like that.
it was just a vocational
Yeah,
license.
because exactly, it was a vocational license. But then, I started doing the research, and I was like, but I was still doing the job to the best of my ability.
Mm-hmm.
I took it seriously because, this was my experience. This was the shit that laid the foundation for who I am. And it's always one of those things that no matter what you're doing, no matter how shitty the job is, no matter how much you hate that job, do it to the best of your ability, because that's the foundation for who you are. Okay? And if you're going to sit there and not do the job because it sucks, or the hours suck, or the fucking pay sucks, or whatever the situation is, you're not going to have that attitude. You're not going to have that mental fortitude that tells you that you're doing the best that you can at this particular position.
No, I am. I am doing the best I
No,
can.
I'm not saying you aren't.
Right. Okay.
I'm not saying you aren't. I'm just saying that that's the thing, because that will also instill the confidence in you going and looking for other work to improve your conditions. Because nobody wants to work at a shitty job all their life.
Right.
I mean, shit, I started out at Taco Bell, and I got fired from fucking Taco Bell. Okay? And it wasn't even my fault. But because I was lumped in with the crew at night, and the person that was the manager at the time was a high school buddy of mine, and we got away with fucking murder half the time.
Mm-hmm.
And people were drinking, and he was the one that would stick the fucking old half drunk beers up in the rafters, and it was those little fucking cork rafters.
Yeah.
Right. So the half drunk beers would seep out a little bit, and that shit came crashing down one day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, damn near killed somebody. And the whole point of all that is, like, I wasn't even at work that day when that shit happened.
Mm-hmm.
But because I was part of that crew and I didn't report it, I got fired. And it's because the manager fucking ratted us all out. Because if he was going to go down, we were all going to go down.
Yeah.
And
that's not right.
Yeah, no, it's not right. And I haven't talked to that guy since.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he's going to do some petty bullshit like that,
he's got to show his true colors.
Yeah. And so, but that's the thing. Like I know right now I make a ridiculous amount of money for what I do, but I would do the same quality work if I was picking up trash.
Yeah.
Or if I was mopping fucking floors, or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Still do it to the best of your
ability.
ability.
I do it to the best of my ability, because that's who I am now. When I was, in my 20s, that wasn't who I was. In my 20s, I was just a fucking dumbass. And I could rightly admit that, because I was.
I think we all are.
Yeah.
Regardless of how good or not we're doing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I didn't start my career in X-ray until I was in my 30s. And, I had a pretty good run. I'm now 23 years in from when I graduated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm doing pretty well, And the thing is like, the VA is a really good option for you. honestly. And it doesn't matter what you do at the VA. It's still a good option either way, because you can advance within the VA and do whatever is necessary. Like let's say you want to get into cybersecurity, right? Well, you can get into the radiology portion of it and become a PACS admin. Okay, that's a decent job. You know, it's kind of boring at times, but it's still decent. Pays well, especially if you get your certification in PACS. A certification in PACS is probably will run you like $1,500, and like maybe I think it's 62 credits in like a college credit course, right? So that's about a year and a half maybe of college type stuff to get your PACS admin.
Yeah.
And then you'll learn how to run that system. And then going from there, most of the time those PACS admins are also IT specialists. And if you want to, get your licensures in IT, that's also another route that you could take. And a lot of them have programs that you could apply for, and they could start training you as it is. So, that's the benefit of looking at the VA. So let's say you look at the VA and there's a janitor job. Get in as a janitor, and then work your way up.
Yeah.
It is, it's one of those things. Like I know that like I'm doing this podcast, right? And I don't expect to have billions of followers or even monetize this particular thing, but I'm still working towards that.
Wait, you mean I'm not getting paid for this interview?
Nope. It's all free. You have the beauty of me being here. The honor, I should say.
Nay, the privilege.
Nay, the privilege of sitting with me out in dusk with the bugs and shit.
With all the mosquitoes eating us. Chase my dog around the yard so he doesn't eat my fucking daughter's toys.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, that's just the thing. And, when you're ready, you're going to do what you're going to need to do. And I understand that, because like not everybody, does it on their own time schedule. You know what I mean? Or not everybody does it on somebody else's time schedule.
Right.
So you're going to end up, having to make a decision and sacrificing something, and, but it's for the greater good. You're supposed to say it.
The greater good.
There you go.
But sorry, yeah, I'll be more monotone about it next time.
Okay. But yeah, that's, and I know Leslie wants to go back to school, right? No, she doesn't want to go back to school?
She did for a minute. What she wants to do is, she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, and I want to help her do that. I want to give her that.
Yeah.
I just know that, we're not making enough right now, and I need help. And I've had to talk to her about that.
Yeah.
Just, life is tough.
Right. And, your mom wants to be a stay-at-home mom, too.
Yeah.
But she's
to
not
who?
She's
to
not
who
a mom
right
anymore.
I was about to say, to who?
Yeah, she's not a mom anymore. So
the Sunshine?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's, Sunshine, if we lax a little bit, then that dog will fucking tear shit up. I'll tell you. And
I really do want to give her what she wants in regards to how she wants to live. And I was trying to, especially in the beginning. When we first moved here and I was working at Lockheed, I was working 16-hour days, 6 days a week. Had to fight for that 7th day off.
Yeah.
And then it was still an hour drive to and from. And, I wasn't getting any sleep, and
yeah,
it sucked. But I was trying to do what I needed to do.
Well, I've always told you, work smarter, not harder. And
no, I was making good money at the time.
Right.
Before, everything started inflating all to hell.
But that's the thing, though. It's like now you have to stop, assess, and redirect.
Yeah.
and whatever that means, you know, that's what needs to happen at this point, and whether that means taking advantage of USA jobs, or doing whatever else is necessary, going back to school, or because I don't know if you know this or not, but if you do your GI Bill, or you send Leslie to do the GI Bill or whatever, you get money for
Going to school.
for going to school.
I know. I did
but
that.
you also get money to pay your rent.
I know.
And
I did that for a little bit.
Yeah, and so I mean, these are things that.
And I've tried. I really have tried going the school route, and I'm not trying to say that it's not worthy. It never clicked in my head for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it.
And I want it to work out. I do.
Right.
I've tried it 2-3 times now, and it never clicks in my head. I always go for.
Well, what were you going for? That's the question.
I mean, the first thing is just to get the basics out of the way before I can even get into what I want to do.
Okay.
Get history and English and stuff like that out of the way. Before I can actually get into anything technical about what I wanted.
Okay.
Which, I mean, hell, to this day I still don't really know what I want. Granted, I know what I would like to do, but it's not going to make me money, especially in the beginning.
Well,
which is, suffice to say, of just about anything that's not an actual job.
Well, what is that?
I'd like to stream. I would like to stream games, but at the same time, I already know that the market just isn't for me. I mean, I could probably make it to where it is, but that's going to take a long time. It's going to take a lot of effort, and it's not going to yield a whole lot of results.
Right. Well, I mean, I understand that 100%.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing a podcast that probably nobody will listen to except for the people that I send it to. But that doesn't stop me.
But you're doing it after the fact is key.
After the fact of
you're already stable, and I'm not trying to say that that's a bad thing. That's actually perfect. But you're doing what you want to do. You're doing the fun thing without the necessity of viewership and monetization.
But how often? So the question is, you want to stream? You want to stream gaming, right?
I'd like to do something that of course I want to do something that I want to do, but it has to yield in results.
Right. So let me ask you, how many hours do you play your video games a day?
None.
You don't. What about yesterday? How many hours did you play your video games yesterday?
Played for a couple hours, but that was because I had the day off.
Okay.
When I don't have the day off, I don't play.
Right.
And usually whenever I do play, it's only because it's 2 a.m. Everybody else is asleep.
Okay.
There's nothing that I need to be doing at that time. Granted, there is other stuff I could be doing.
Okay.
Could run another load of dishes. Could run another load of laundry.
Right. ¿Por qué no los dos?
I do.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
I still do. To the best of my
Why
ability.
don't you just hit record on that session that you're playing games on, and then when you have the time, upload that video, or send it to your brother to edit, or send it to me to edit, or learn how to fucking edit,
which I know is something I want to do for a while.
And then once you do that, then upload it, because that's the hardest part is starting.
Yeah,
that's the hardest part. Believe me, I wanted to start this podcast for over a year, and I barely fucking started it like 2 months ago.
What was stopping you?
My muse, my ambition, my ability to sit there and say, fuck, I need to get in my studio and record. I didn't have any of that. I didn't have the drive, the determination. During the time that I was sick, I fucking had no want to do that. And I should have, because I had a lot of fucking content that I could have recorded, and I could have, stuck in the can until I needed to pull it out and upload it.
Mm-hmm.
Right now I'm working on I've uploaded two sessions and the third session I'm working on. This will be the fourth one here. I did a fifth one, but I only got 15 minutes of that fifth one. So
right, because you lost a
yeah,
lot of it.
so I don't really count that. But
That was freebie.
yeah, but it gave me a realization of what I wanted to do, and it gave me a realization of what I needed to do in order to cover this podcast. Because again, I don't want to cover specific subjects unless there's a specific subject that we need to cover.
Mhm.
I want to have a conversation, and that's what we're having. We're having a conversation.
Right.
We're talking.
I think you just defined a podcast there.
Well, no, because most podcasts have purpose. They've got a defined situation that they're talking about, and a lot of them are only a half hour long, 20 minutes long, 5 minutes long, shit like that. I envy Joe Rogan's podcast.
Really?
Because it starts off in one section,
Mhm.
and it might be about, somebody's book that they're hawking, right? But it goes off on a tangent into other facets of life.
Right. They have a natural conversation where
Right.
they get distracted by different subjects.
Right, and that's exactly the way I want this to play.
Okay.
So, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, however long it is, most of my sessions have only been an hour because that's the time that most people have, and other sessions, like I mentioned, the one that I did in Oregon, that was a 2.5 hour session.
Right.
And I only got 15 minutes of it, which I was extremely upset about.
Best 15 minutes of that 2.5 hours, though.
But yeah, it was a really good start. But it was the conversation that I wanted, and that was the thing, and so I do like half hour spots for myself. Like I'll record myself for like a half hour, and I'll talk about how I'm feeling that day, and how I woke up that morning, and how my body is reacting to certain things, whether or not it is.
Did you do that today before the movie?
I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't do that. But I do that every so often. I try to get content that is relevant to what I'm trying to base this podcast around.
Okay.
And so most of the time, like I wish I do have a day that I have off, and that's usually Fridays, and I try to record something every Friday. And if it's only a half hour worth of something, then that's fine. I only record a half hour worth of something. Or if I can, I'll bring somebody in. I'll bring somebody in, and we'll talk about certain things revolving around the subject, essentially. But it goes off on a tangent. Like I've got this gal that I work with. She just recently went to India, and I wanted to interview her, and and I just recently told her my condition, and so I want to interview her. Number one, about India, and number two, how she feels about my condition. Mm-hmm. And just one of those things. It's
right.
Just,
that's the only skeletal structure you got.
Because I'm just getting perspectives. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm really doing is trying to get somebody's perspective on how things are and how they work and how people react to it and so on and so forth. It's not something that is going to be the it's not something. It might help somebody who might be going through the same thing that I'm going through. Maybe help them make that decision to not follow over the chemo, or make that decision to follow over the chemo. Because I've stated it time and time again. If there was light at the end of my tunnel, then I definitely would fight for it. But at this point, there is no light at the end of that tunnel, and I'm okay with that. I am perfectly fine with that, and with me living the way I want to live, and taking the consequences as it comes.
I mean, if we're talking philosophically, we're not in a religious household, you or I.
Yeah.
But the light at the end of the tunnel is whatever you want it to be.
Right. And the thing is though is that like
and what you stated that you want is more quality time rather than
Right.
quantity time.
Right.
So that in and of itself is your light. You know,
True.
it's not that there isn't a light at the end of the tunnel. It's just different
Yeah.
from somebody else's.
Well, yeah, because my tunnel ends.
Your tunnel's gross and full of cancer.
Well,
versus someone else's might be thorny and, you know,
right.
full
Or
of, full of buttholes. I don't know.
Full of herpes in the ass.
It's a horrible tunnel that somebody some unnamed person is going through.
Yeah. But yeah, those are the little things that I particularly want, and I'm hoping plays out fairly well. And but the hardest part is just to start.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you don't start, you'll never know where you can go. And that's the thing. It's like if you don't try, what is that analogy? You miss
100% of the shots you don't take.
Exactly.
I'm getting ate alive out here.
We're almost done.
No, I'm not mad at it.
But because I'm getting eaten too. But yeah, that's just the thing. You got to try.
Yep.
You got to try. You got to, even if you fail, you still got to try, because failure is just an excuse to start again. At least that's the way I see it. And I've never been one to give up easily on something.
Mm-hmm.
And shit. I don't know if you remember my collection of action figures.
I do.
Your mom convinced me to get rid of those action figures.
I remember that day. It was a very sad day.
And at the time, I was in agreement because I did get rid of them. But one of the things I do regret about that, and this is one of the few regrets that I have in life, is I got rid of the 12-inch ultra-sized action figures, which were the big ones.
Yeah.
And I wanted to keep those. And
the actual put them up on the mantle posable ones.
Yeah. And I didn't tell her in time, and she had already gotten rid of them. Mm. And so I regretted that, but I mean,
how come we never got any more?
It's like I could buy them right now, but why? You know what I mean?
Because you like them,
right? But I don't want to spend money twice. You know what I mean? That's just not.
Yeah.
That's not sound.
No, I know.
And again, don't get me wrong. I was talking to your mom about a Kickstarter that's coming out in November.
What's it for?
It's for Medieval Spawn.
Okay.
And it's a McFarlane Toys exclusive, but it's a Medieval Spawn, and it's on Kickstarter. And one of the things that I think they're going to do is they're going to get the remade version, which is the original version, up to date, and then they're going to do an alternate version, and then they're going to do a prototype. It's called the artist version or whatever. So there's a prototype version of it, and it's it's going to cost some money, and it's going to be autographed. At least one of them is going to be autographed by Todd McFarlane. I already have an autographed Todd McFarlane pewter action figure that I had him sign at the San Diego Comic Con.
Mm-hmm.
And
is that one of the ones that was gotten rid of?
No. I have that. Yeah,
you still have that?
Yeah, I still have that one. Yeah, it's still in its bubble, in its plastic case. Yeah, there's no. I'm not.
You put that one in the safe, at least 300 yards away from the original.
Yeah.
In a fireproof box.
No. I mean, it's in a something else, but but it's there, and that's the thing. So that's what I wanted to have. And I've spent money on other stuff. I have a Deadpool action figure. It's not really an action figure. It's a 12-inch posable.
Yeah.
That I haven't taken out of its box, but I'm thinking about taking it out of its box. It wasn't brand new. I bought it used, but I spent $80 on that motherfucker. So I don't want to lose any parts to it, and I don't want to put it on my desk. I might put it on my desk in the studio, but I don't want to put it on my desk on the outside.
Yeah.
Because Sunshine might get it. And if she gets it, I will fucking kill that dog. But, I mean, it is what it is. All right. You ready to wrap this up?
Sure.
All right.
How do you wrap this up?
No, just wrap it up.
That's a wrap.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Bye.